And now Russia has vetoed a Japan-drafted United Nations Security Council resolution to briefly renew the mandate of an international inquiry into chemical attacks in Syria, citing fundamental flaws in its work.
Extension of Jim's mandate for us is possible only provided that fundamental flaws in its work be rectified. Otherwise, after the leadership of the mechanism disgraced itself with its fictitious investigation into the episode of sarin gas in Khan Sheikhoun, signed its name on baseless accusations against Syria.
Nebenzia also criticized the U.S. and its allies for putting their draft resolutions to the Council's vote, knowing that Russia opposed it. He said the move was meant to exert political pressure on Moscow and Damascus. Japanese proposed resolution called for a renewal of inspectors' mission for 30 days. On Thursday, Russia also vetoed a U.S. drafted resolution which sought to renew the mandate of the UN OPCW panel for a year. And Moscow said the Joint Investigative Mechanism's previous report, which blamed Damascus for a gas attack against civilians, should be shelved before any renewal. And joining us out of Rhode Island is a lecturer at Brown University, Vladimir Goldstein. Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us. Your thoughts on why Russia is vetoing this second UN resolution?
Well, Russia is not very happy with this document, and it's expressed its complaints about the document more or less from the very beginning. So what's going on is tug of war. United States, want to shove it down the throat of Russia, and wants Russia to sort of approve this document, and Russia refuses to rubber stamp it. They express very concrete complaints about the very committee which did this research. They say it contains primarily Western scholars, scientists. They didn't go to the site. They've been operating from Beirut or some other places. They already sort of, more or less have a jumped in conclusion that it was like, Assad and his army who did it, which is based on nothing. Furthermore, Russia tries to suggest that, there are some other studies, some other scientists who claim differently. This committee does want acknowledge it, does want to consider that. So they already, made their judgment. Furthermore, what is interesting, and I think Russia is correct to suspect the whole document, is the United States have to recuse itself from being a member of this committee and from, pushing it around, because they already acted upon the decision. In April, they sent bombs to Syria because they already decided that Syria is guilty. So they want this, they already want this decision blaming Syria. Russia says, what's going on with this? We cannot, approve of this document. We cannot walk along with this document. Let's come up with some different mechanism. So it's tug of war, and the United States, rather than trying to sort of do something and change the approach, they apparently tinker with the wording here and there, but they don't change the makeup of the committee. They don't change already decision that what's happened in Al-Sheikhoun in April is to be blamed for Syria. So Russia just more or less stands its ground and resists and vetoes.
And Professor Goldstein, why isn't anyone entertaining Russia's proposal to have an independent and impartial body probe those alleged gas attacks?
It's absolutely obvious, because the finding wouldn't fit the narrative. The finding wouldn't find the story, because for some reason it's very comfortable for the Western allies to blame Assad on the whole thing, while it's clear Assad doesn't benefit from that at all. So it must have been this Daesh people who probably set up some kind of explosion and then blame it on Assad to provoke it. This is not the first time these false flag attacks are being done by the Western allies when they want to just push their agenda. So, I think, as I said, the United States should recuse itself from the whole thing, because they already bombed Syria for this action. There should be different committee. And I think Russia is, I think absolutely correct to sort of dig their heels and not to agree with this, absolutely phony document, which is based on very dubious science or maybe correct conclusions, but there are people who are not even on the ground. So that's the story.
Thank you for joining us there, Professor Vladimir Goldstein, joining us at Brown University from Rhode Island.